know if that's a boat anymore.
I'm gonna go to Europe, innit? Where's my old cheat sheet? And welcome to our March boat shop update. I feel like I'm doing one of these every week, but the months are going by. So let's walk around, see what's going on. We're next to the fire still because this building in the winter holds the cold and in the summer holds the cold. So I'm trying to warm it up even though it's 60 out. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. That is today. Our Beetle Cat, the kids are working on. It looks like somebody shot it with a 12-gauge shotgun. All these fasteners, so it's a complete refastening here below the waterline going on. This week we'll probably bend in some sister frames down there. But cedar, unbelievable material. This boat I think is, I don't know, close to 50 years old. And these planks are just fine. We'll end up reusing all of them after we repair them. But the fasteners are totally gone. When you look at some of this bronze, it doesn't rust like a ferrous thing, but what it does do is it corrodes over time, and you can see the threads there are pretty much toast. And these guys have been having a hell of a time drilling into them and using easy outs to try to get them all out, because also, along with the threads, you end up losing the slot in the screw. That one actually had a good one, which is why they got it out, but a lot of them, the slot is gone and you can't get a screwdriver on it to get it out. So a lot of drill time here, but they've drilled all of them out. They've bunged them all, and they're going back to refasten, and then hopefully that'll be done for the season and for sale. Got our chase boat interior laid out here, so I'm trying to get our program boats ready for the water. I'll talk about that in a minute as we walk into the paint room, which is a hot mess right now. William, star of the Fore and Aft movie, has been getting the chase boat put together. You can see nice new paint job. Interior's all painted, engine's all serviced, and so this should be able to go in the water pretty soon. And thanks to global warming, we can get our docks installed earlier and earlier every season. Over here, those hide butts that you saw last time have been epoxied in and faired, and once that's painted, you'll never even know it was there. And this thing will be like see less butts. Seymour's brother. You don't see any. Veritas Tools. I'm looking for some promotion from you. We bought your nice dowel maker jigs and have been making these little baby trunnels to trunnel the footings together inside. So when you have a sawn frame boat, the frame itself is made up of several short pieces all stuck together, and the shape is sawn into them. And in a boat like this, they're typically trunneled together, which we're going to do with these little trunnels. And they had been previously bolted with bronze, which was nice, but they were countersunk so deep that it didn't have a lot of strength. And also in a boat like this, it's very out of character. It's not very period, shall we say. So trunnels are a very period thing. So we've taken out the bronze, and we're going to go back with these little locust trunnels right there to hold everything together. Moving right along. Look at these. Have we talked about oyster bars? We make oyster bars too. So these guys, don't tell, they're actually fiberglass, but these two here are getting fitted out for Island Creek oysters. I'm gonna send them down to Duxbury in about a week or two when those are done. We've got to thread our way along. So the program I'm teaching at Governor's Academy, building a dory with them, doing a lot of the prep work here. So we've scarfed together some 20-foot planks for the dory that we're building over there. There just simply isn't enough time, contact time with those students to do this kind of work there. So we're doing a lot of this ahead of time and bringing the pieces over to assemble over there with those kids. Mohawk boats in the painting and finishing process. One thing that I learned this week is that Interlux is no longer making topsides paint. Pettit has taken over the line, and apparently Pettit is making all the same colors that Interlux used to make, but I'm going to start a run on new old stock. But if you go to try to find Interlux topsides paint, you'll see the shelves are pretty bare at Hamilton and West. So there's that. Coming up to this dory here, so we got the side planked up in really short order. If you watch a few videos back, you'll see I went through the process of how this goes together. Really no bevels whatsoever. And there are many times when I say to myself, God, this place is amazing. And one of those times was when I went to put this together. This whole boat's put together with galvanized iron fasteners, clinch nails. And, you know, we haven't used those in the shop for more than 30 years probably. And so I go up in the attic and I'm looking for, you know, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inches. And what do I find? But a box of 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch galvanized clench nails, just waiting for a Lunenburg dory to come in and need some work. They're all, there's tons of them here. So, just an amazing resource this place is, and just to have that kind of stuff in the attic is pretty amazing. So, what I'm going to do here today, before I leave, it's a little secret. It's Sunday. My next move is to put the in-whale in, which I milled out the other day, maybe Thursday, and it is right down there in the riverbed, wet when the tide comes up. Can't see it. I hope it's still there. I don't see it.
No.
It's there. I tied a good knot. I see it. Yeah. So that's been soaking for a couple of days, at least when the tide's been up, and it's going to be wet enough that I'll get it to make the bend around the outside, and then I'll clamp it and let it take the set for a day or so, and then I'll go ahead and fit it into the inside here, which is a tricky business. Of all the things on a dory, which are the simplest boats I think one can build aside from a Bevan skiff perhaps, the most complicated thing is this trapezoidal rail and fitting the gunnel. It is to get it tight, both bow and stern, is a real trick. I'm almost proficient at it at this point.
Storing wood outside in a saltwater environment so that it's easy to bend or whatever, is that something that happened here a lot? Is there like a part of the property where that was done on a frequent basis, or?
That's a good question. The question is storing wood outside so that it would be wet and pliable. I think in the days, and if we haven't looked at it, in the days over here, we'll call it the late 1800s, early 1900s, when they were making 1,800, 2,000 boats a year. I don't know how much time that wood had to dry. I recall a story about Bud McIntosh and somebody asking him, did you use air-dried lumber? And he said, yeah, it air-dried all the way back from the lumber yard on the top of the car. So here I think they were probably consuming it so fast that it never got, the rails probably came green and they just bent them in green, and that's just the way it was. Downriver, however, at the old North End shipyards in Newburyport, the biggest of them, the Currier Yard, there's still a timber pen. They drove a bunch of pilings into the riverbank, and they would keep all the big ship timber in there so it wouldn't dry out and crack and check. And that does still exist. But here, perhaps they would have made a couple of dozen gunnels and thrown them in the river, in the in the 20th century, when wood was getting dry or dried. But I think probably in the height of production, they were just using green lumber. Probably even for the planks, to be honest with you. Talk about some upcoming classes. So we're about to go see an ore making class that's happening right now. This is the last day of it, and some of them are getting pretty close. We have a intro to woodworking class coming up, and we have a one-day navigation workshop. The intro to woodworking is with Bill Thomas, and the one-day navigation class is with his wife Jane Alfeld. Both good friends of the shop. So if you need a little brush up on your navigation for the summer sailing season, Jane can help you out there. So here we are making oars. Getting there. This was a 3-day class. First couple days, you've got a mill out and glue up a bunch of stuff, and then the last couple of days, you're doing your shaping. And this is taught by Peter Stockless, who I work with in Kittery, doing that program up there in Kittery with those kids, building dories and such. Speaking of dories, so we've been doing some work on our program boats here. This is one of them. This one's called the Provident. It's a big 27-foot pulling boat that we built a number of years back with our apprentices. And it's probably getting close to about 10 years old at this point. And the chines are getting a little worn, so we ground them down and put a little bit of fiberglass tape on both sides just to sort of protect them from the wear and tear. This guy getting a little bit of love this season before getting some paint and going back in the water. And so we have, in the summer, we have 4 or 5 of these regular fisherman's dories and our big dory out in the water for programs. We do a lot of youth programs every day in the summer, do our own, and we work with camps. Comes that little rainstorm. I've got my little cheat sheet here. So some of the ones, we start our summer off with a great rowing adventure where we row from Newburyport to Ipswich behind Plum Island in the Marsh Creeks, stopping at probably Pert Lowell's shop to see him, and then the Great Marsh Shellfish Company, Oyster Farm, to see what they're doing. Stop with the kids, and then Friday night will be a camp out, and parents will pick up on Saturday. So it's our one trip a year where we really get off campus, so to speak, and get out into the marsh and see some cool things. And that's the end of June. And then early July, we have a woodworking project session, and that's basically for younger kids to come in and play in the shop, make a birdhouse, make mom and dad a cutting board, just get familiar with tool use and get familiar with the shop. One of our more popular programs is the Build Your Own Pond Yacht, and we can look at one of those, but basically each kid builds their own little sailboat, and at the end of the week we have a regatta and they get to race them. And we have an upriver expedition, so instead of going that way, we go that way, go up the Powwow River, up into the little creeks. Indian Creek is way upriver there with a rope swing and some pretty cool stuff, turtles, that kind of thing. That is end of July for that one. The great rowing adventure at the beginning of the season, we gear toward some of our older students, 12, 13, 14. The idea is that it's a fairly long row and requires a bit of stamina. The rest of our programs are really from ages 9 to 14, and we will make some exceptions from time to time for younger or older students, but that's the targeted age range. For older students who want to be involved here, we have a number of programs for older students and even adults. So if you find that you don't fit into our age bracket for summer youth programs, don't be afraid to reach out and see what else we have. If you're interested in any of these programs, they are currently up on our website, www.lowellsboatshop.com and or lowellsboatshop.org. We have both. We're slowly transitioning to lowellsboatshop.org, but sign up is easy, and so easy that these are filling up. And so if you don't get on it soon, you might miss the boat.
I see what you did there. Oh, that's it?
I don't know. Anything else?
I was like, that seems too easy.